Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. My dear students, I am Muhammad Abdullah Murad Chaudhary, Senior Lecturer, Department of Agriculture Studies, Milestone College, Uttara Dhaka. Let's go for today's online lecture.
Dear students, this is the second lecture of this section, which is soil erosion and its prevention. First lecture we discussed about the definition of soil erosion, then types of soil erosion, then causes of soil erosion, then controlling of soil erosion, and their uh, harmful effect of soil erosion. Today, after watching this lecture, you will able to understand the concept of soil erosion, method and importance of soil conservation, then concepts of irrigation and drainage and their importance. Let's start the details explanation of this topic. First of all, we have to understand that what is soil conservation. Soil conservation means maintaining the physical, chemical, and biological characteristics of soil, and you have to remember that from preventing soil erosion. If we do not prevent the soil erosion, it's quite impossible to conserve the soil. So the first objective is prevent the soil erosion and maintain the physical, chemical, and biological characteristics of the soil. So that is meaning, or that is the idea of soil conservation. So that means preventing soil erosion is the another option of the soil conservation. By conserving soil, the nutrient capacity, productivity, and the fertility of soil is increased. So you have to remember that when you control the soil erosion, that means you conserve the soil erosion, and then definitely your nutrient capacity which is present in the soil and the productivity of crop and the fertility of the soil will be definitely increased. So this is very important for the soil, for to conserve the soil. uh, Another thing is you have to remember that about 10% every year chemical fertilizer are uh, applying is increasing day by day in the soil. So you have to decrease the apply of chemical fertilizer 10% if you do this soil conservation process. Next one is method of soil conservation. First point is how can you conserve the soil erosion. So you have to apply this type of topics which will I explain now. First one is apply crop rotation. Crop rotation means you have to cultivate different crops uh, in the land in a year. That means we know that we have got three season cropping season in a year. One is Rabi, another one is Kharif 1, and the other one is Kharif 2. So what you should do, you have to cultivate different crop in this three season. Do not cultivate same crop in a year. So if you cultivate different crop, then it will be conserve the soil accordingly. For instance, if you cultivate pulse type crops, then you can cultivate green manure crops, then you cultivate another vegetables crops. So you have to follow this type of crop rotation. Then what will you can get from this, when you cultivate deep rooted crop, then that root capture the soil, and when you cultivate rice crop, like that root is not going underneath the soil very deep, so that will not compact the soil. So that is why you have to apply the crop rotation. Next one is crop management. That means this is another type of This is one kind of crop rotation as well. When you cultivate cover crops, that time air and flood or rainwater do not move surface soil from one place to another place. That is kind of soil conservation. But when you cultivate hedge or creeper type crop, that time that soil, due to due to heavy rainfall or normal rainfall or due to air ventilation or air flow, the crop is moving from one place to another place. So that is why when you cultivate creeper crops, you can cultivate intercrop or relay crop with this land. So that is called the crop management. So when you cultivate any crops, you have to think about that is about the crop management. Next one is soil management. So what is soil management? So if you cultivate or if you apply the tillage operation in the land, that time when you are doing the tillage operation, that time soil move from one place to another place. That time you have to think about this one before you cultivate any crop as well. Sometimes you have to apply fertilizer, you have to apply lime, you have to do the follow the irrigation and drainage system as well. So when you need the activities, that time you have to do that activities. If you need irrigation, that time you do the irrigation. If you need a fertilizer application, that time you have to follow the fertilizer application. If you need drainage system, that time you have to follow the drainage system. This is called soil management. And with this management, we can conserve the soil. Mulching means apply something on the top of the soil, that time that soil do not move from one place to another place and keep the moisture content. And that something might be dry straw, dry leaf, or water hyacinth. That is called mulching. If you provide mulching on the cropland, that time soil moisture do not dry quickly, or sunlight do not enter on the soil very quickly. That is why soil conservation is very easy. That is why we have to apply mulching. Mulching is very important for your CQ or creative question. Sometimes questions like this: what is mulching, or explain the mulching process. That time you can write down like this: the process by which apply water hyacinth, dry leaf, or dry straw on the top of the soil for keeping the moisture content. That is called mulching. Next one is apply crop residues. Crop residues means different type of crop debris or rotten crop debris, like leaf, vegetable residues. If we apply this one on the soil, that time that soil decompose, that crop residues decompose on the soil and mix with the soil. That will conserve the soil easily. Apply organic manure, for example different type of compost fertilizer or biofertilizer. If we apply that one, that will easily as well conserve the soil. Decrease the flow of water. When heavy rainfall or flooded occurred in the land, that time when that water goes from slopy land to lower slopy land, that time the surface soil goes down with the water as well from highland to lowland. So decrease the flow of water as well. If you lower down the water at that time, water soil might be, or soil can be conserved. Soil management, we talk about this one before as well. We have to manage the soil, like apply irrigation, apply drainage, apply lime, tillage operation whenever they need. Step cultivation, we can do this one in the hill tract area. That time you can sometimes you can observe in the hill tracts area tribal people make these steps on the hill. That time the water or air do not go down very quickly. That is why surface soil do not go down as well. So soil can be conserved in that way as well. And the last one is contour cultivation. So contour cultivation means in the hilly area across the line, when cultivation the crops is called contour is kind of step cultivation as well, but this is the another method because we have to cultivate the crop across the line, is kind of zoom cultivation. So this is all about the method of soil conservation. If we apply this all method, then we can conserve the soil very easily. You can get these questions for 3 marks or 4 marks as well in the creative questions like that. Explain the or analyze the method of soil conservation, or explain the way and means of soil conservation. Why we need soil conservation, that means necessity or importance or advantages of soil conservation. First one is soil conserve necessary nutrients in the soil. When we conserve the soil, that time the soil nutrient do not move from one place to another place, because when soil eroded, that time the surface nutrient move from one place to another place. That time soil loses their nutrient, but when you conserve the soil, that time they do not need the they do not lose the nutrient from the soil. Increase soil fertility, that means when we keeping the soil nutrient by the help of soil conservation, that then definitely increase the soil fertility. Increase soil productivity, when nutrient increase, soil fertility increase, definitely the production of the crop will be increased in the soil conservation. That is why we need this soil conservation. Balance soil microorganism activity, that means the microorganism present in the soil, if we conserve the soil, that activity increase, because maximum microorganisms are helpful for soil. That is why if we conserve the soil, that time microorganism activity increase, because microorganisms do not move from one place to another place. Less amount of fertilizer applied in the land, when we conserve the soil, that times nutrient element increase, fertility increase, productivity increase. That means we have to apply less amount of chemical fertilizer. Crop production in hill tract is in normal condition. That means if we apply this conservation, then in the hill tracts area production will be normal. Now, concepts of irrigation. What is irrigation? This another name is apply water. So irrigation means to provide water artificially in the land for the purpose of crop production. Irrigation is done to provide necessary water to the crop field. That means when we cultivated any type of crop, that time rainfall occurred, so soil or crop get water from the rainfall. But sometime there will be no water, no rainfall. That time we have to apply artificially water in the cropland because of increasing the production. That is called irrigation. And definitely when the definition comes, you have to write down this point: water artificially, provide water artificially and in the land. So what will be the importance of irrigation? First importance is for preparing a good seed bed. That means when you prepare any type of seed bed of crop, that time irrigation is must, because if there is any dry seed bed, you need to apply water as well for little bit, or if it is wet seed bed, that time you have to need to make the water very wet. That is why you need to apply irrigation. Next one is to soften the cultivable land. That means the cultivate land need to be soft or uh, need the moisture content. Otherwise, the plant cannot uptake the nutrient without the water. To protect from short-term drought, that means when there is no rainfall, that time drought occurred. But if we apply irrigation, that time short-term drought protect the land or crop from the short-term drought. To help in the normal balanced growth and nutrition of plants. To help in the normal balanced growth and nutrition of plants. I told you before as well, if you do not apply water in the land, that time nutrient of the land of the soil will be not available to uptake the plant. So when plant need to be uptake the nutrient, that time that nutrient will be available from with the help of water. That is why need the water. To keep the soil and environment cool, that means soil and environment need to be cooled down. That means the soil as well and the environmental as well cool down with the help of irrigation. For washing away the salt from the surface and decreasing the soil salinity. Sometimes some soil have got lots of saline or salt. If we apply water, irrigation water, pure irrigation water, that time salt from the surface and soil salinity become decrease. So that is why we need to be apply irrigation, because we know that in the saline soil not all type of crops can be cultivated. For meeting the necessary water damage of crops. So when the crops damage due to the water, that time if we apply water, that type of damage will not happen in the crop, like the growth is stunted, sometimes seed will not growing properly, that time flower will blooming late, this type of damage. For decreasing the harmful effect of snowfall, sometimes in the some region like European country, snowfall happen. That time the snowfall stagnate or compact in the land or deposit in the land. If we apply irrigation, that time snowfall, that means the ice become melt and it will go away. That is the more important for European country. For easy availability of nutrition in soil by plant roots, that means I told you before as well, if the nutrient is not available, that time plant cannot uptake with the help of root. If we apply water, that time that will be available. For getting more production by increasing soil productivity level, that means increase the production, we need to apply irrigation definitely. Now next point is concepts of drainage. What is drainage? We know that water is very essential for crop production. Even water is very harmful for crop production as well, because some crops do not like water stagnant condition. For instance, banana, potato, groundnut, this type of wheat, this type of crop. Sometimes heavy rainfall and flood, due to the flood, water stagnant condition happen in the land. That is why that time we have to remove the water from the land. That is called drainage. If you give me the definition, which is drainage means to remove water artificially from the land for the purpose of crop production. That means remove the water artificially from the crop land, definitely for the purpose of crop production. Drainage is done to remove necessary water from the crop field. That means if we do not need the water in the land, that time you have to remove the water from the cropland, that is called drainage. So what will be the importance? First one is crop grows vigorous and fresh. That means if we remove the water or drainage from the land, that time crop will be fresh and vigorous. Crop protect from disease and insects. Sometimes when water present in the land, that time different type of disease attack and insect attack as well. Increase soil beneficiary microorganism activities. Due to the presence of water in the land, different type of microorganism activity increases. Some of the microorganism is beneficiary and some is harmful. One that is harmful, that is affected by different type of disease as well, but one is the beneficiary microorganism that will increase the that will decompose and increase the fertility of the land. Crop protect from death as well. And then soil air ventilation power become normal. That means when water present in the land, that time ventilation of the soil become decreases, but when remove the water, that time soil ventilation will be normal. That will help for the plant growth. Soil salinity remove. If the soil is saline soil, that means salt present in the land, that time when we remove the water, that time the salinity as well removed from the land. Prevent fertilizer wastage. Sometimes when we apply fertilizer in the land, but if there is any water present, stagnant condition, that time fertilizer activity will be wastage. So better idea to remove water and then apply fertilizer. Crop nutrient uptake capacity power increase. That means when water present in the land, too much water present in the land, that time nutrient will not in the available condition for uptake the crop. So that is why we have to remove the drainage water, remove the water from the land. Timely cultivate crop. So if there is any rainfall or flood present in flood happen, that time water present in the land, that time crop cannot be cultivated or crop cannot be harvested timely as well. And then land jaw condition situation comes quickly. That means if we remove the water, that time the jaw condition, that means normal level of moisture present in the land. So this is all about today's lecture. You can get a creative question from this lecture, like explain the method of soil conservation for 2, 3 or 4 marks. Then creative questions like what is drainage, what is irrigation for 1 mark. Then explain the importance of irrigation, explain the importance of drainage for 2 marks as well.
Thank you very much, my dear students, for watching today's online lecture. If you face any problem, contact your subject teacher. They must help you. Thank you very much.